Hi everyone, and welcome to Jane Talks Murder, where I'll be talking about and reviewing an episode of Poirot, Murder, She Wrote, Diagnosis Murder, or Jonathan Creek. Today, I'm looking at Diagnosis Murder, the Unluckiest Bachelor in LA. Or as I like to call it, that time Steve had no luck with women. Wait, that doesn't narrow it down at all. We begin the episode with, ooh, blind date! Aw, Scylla isn't here, but Steve is. And hang on, I know this lady. She was on Snatch Game on RuPaul's Drag Race. She introduces Lily, who will be picking a date, or not. Apparently she can reject all three and go to the spa instead. Lily asks a dog-related question, the firefighter's answer is pretty funny, the lifeguard's answer is pretty awkward, and Steve doesn't want to answer the question at all.
Oh, no! Eligible number 3 as being a bad dog.
He complains that this is all dumb and admits he drew the short straw, which landed him on the show. What was that? But anyway, Steve's honesty is enough for Lily to pick him. Watch the sign, dude. This ominous guy watches ominously with his ominous gun, and into the credits we go. Ominously. Steve is prepping for his date, but Mark is weary of the whole situation because he knows Steve all too well.
I mean, she's great. Or she's a psycho. Given my dating history, it could go either way.
Good. I'm glad we're all on the same page. Their date comes with a camera crew, and Lily admits she was dared to go on the show by her friend. And they seem to get along and talk about their childhoods as they walk through this beautiful garden. Steve says he has to go back to work, but gives her a kiss. Hey, Steve, does she taste insane? Uh-oh, that guy is here, and he shoots Steve, which the sound guy is into, and Steve winds up in the hospital. Again. Jesse rattles off all the failed romances Steve's had before the doctor walks up. Uh-oh.
His date shot him. I'm gonna shoot you in a minute.
I'm sure this guy was on CSI. Amanda wants to chat to Dr. Wilson about his patient who died during surgery, and she questions his outdated medical practice, which he's rather put out by. Steve and Lily have another date with more smooches, and they agree to another date tomorrow, before a speeding car takes her out and Steve has to call for help. She's taken to the hospital.
Steve, we do our best.
And Steve has to wait as Lily crashes, and holy shit, she's dead. I was not expecting that. Now I feel bad. Steve is devastated and walks off as Dr. Wilson rushes up, identifying Lily as his sister, and has a good cry. Mark meets Steve at his moping log and then goes to talk to Dr. Wilson, who is hanging around so he can be useful, before speaking to Amanda about how weird it is that Wilson never mentioned Lily to anyone before now. She says he's been acting shifty lately, and Mark agrees it's weird. Oh look, a doggy! And it comes with Jeannie, Lily's best friend, who asks why the hell someone would want to run her down, but does admit she doesn't know much about her past. She hands Steve a business card Lily had, so Steve goes to see Lou, who says Lily hired her to track down her brother a week ago. And now it's the day of the funeral, where Steve asks to talk to Mark afterwards. So Mark goes to see Dr. Wilson, who didn't show up to Lily's funeral, and he says he couldn't work out what to wear. He goes off on one a bit, and blames Lily's previous drug problem on why she was killed. And Mark mentions a white convertible speeding away from the shooting, which Wilson admits he owns one of and has no alibi. Mark meets Steve in the hall, while Lou pops out of the cupboard and reveals to Wilson it wasn't Lily blackmailing him, it was her, and she wants more money. The main four discuss the case over dinner, where Jesse defends Dr. Wilson, and Mark admits there's no motive, but Steve is mad that Jesse is allowing his admiration for Wilson to cloud his judgment. Steve goes to visit Wilson's mentor, whose voice I recognize.
Tell him I'll expect him to write the foreword to my next book.
Ah, okay. Yeah, he was that guy from that Voyager episode, Bliss. Great voice. And he talks highly of Dr. Wilson, although he did nearly lose his position in med school because he was a poor African-American guy. Wait, what? Mark crashes fake Dr. Wilson's surgery. Shouldn't you all be wearing masks and caps or something? Anyway, Mark tries to kick him out, but he's kind of in the middle of saving someone's life, and it's all very awkward. Wilson runs for it, leaving Mark to finish the surgery, so Steve goes after him, while Lou dumps the convertible, which was apparently full of grenades. Jeez, excessive much? Now you have to walk home. Oh, it turns out Wilson was in the car, and Mark reckons he was murdered, so goes to see Lou. Yay, another doggy! And they discuss blackmail and the fact that she's full of shit, and she leaves, apparently booking herself a flight out of the country. Dr. Wilson's body is taken to the airport as Maverick 1 and 2 rock up and arrest Lou because the body that went over the cliff wasn't Dr. Wilson. He was in on the whole scheme and gets arrested too. The episode ends with Steve saying goodbye to Lily. Wow, this episode was nuts. I did not expect Lily to be the victim. Obviously, we knew the killer from the off, and Lou was such an odd addition to the story. She probably didn't need to be there, and her connection to Wilson was kind of weird and creepy. This episode jumped all over the place. Days whizzed by, characters were in totally different places after one cut, and it felt like a collection of disjointed scenes rather than a cohesive story. Having said that, it was still more enjoyable than some other episodes I've covered. The blind date idea was cute, the murder was unexpected, there were some nice character moments between the main cast, and Steve managed to stay pretty level-headed and investigated the case without getting all rage revenge like I was expecting. The music was great. One recurring piece was very King's Quest VII, although it seemed a little loud in places, which made dialogue a bit hard to hear. But overall, I enjoyed it. I do have a couple of questions though. First off, what was Dr. Wilson's real name? I mean, Lily was his sister and her name was Wilson, so was he really called Frederick Wilson and just so happened to find a doctor with the same name to steal his medical license? Or was he somebody else Wilson? And whose car did he use to kill Lily? His car is white, whereas the hit-and-run car was silver, and I doubt Lou would have let him use her car for killing. So where did it come from? And where did it go? Cotton Eye Joe. We have two victims. Lily Wilson, who was thought to be a blackmailer, so she was run down and later died thanks to our killer, Frederick Wilson, while our other victim was some John Doe used as a decoy body and was either stolen or killed by Lou Tyler, who did it so that she and Wilson could flee the country. So there you have it. That was The Unluckiest Bachelor in LA. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, or come say hi on social media. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, it really does mean a lot, or consider subscribing if you want to keep investigating with me. Alternatively, feel free to check out my other YouTube channels. Thank you so much for watching, I'll speak to you soon, and keep an eye out for clues.